so today we're gonna make quinoa and black bean burgers, these beauties. They're from the cookbook, which I'm very excited to say is also now out in the US as well, and Germany, and Portugal, and lots of countries. And obviously the UK version came out last August, and I'm still cooking from it, still loving it. These quinoa and black bean burgers have been like a massive favorite actually. At home, in the office with friends, you can make a really nice big batch of them, have them for burgers, but then freeze the rest, or also use them as like patties and salads, which is quite nice as well. Perfect for week lunches. So if you make them maybe for the weekend, have burgers with your family, you can then keep the rest and chuck them into your packed lunches for the week. So if you're a meal prep kind of person, this is a good recipe for you. Lots of lovely flavors in here with red onion, smoked paprika, but super, super easy to do. So we're gonna get started. And the first thing that we need to do is we're just gonna turn the oven on to 200-degree fan. That's for our mushrooms in a minute. And then we're gonna start with our onion and our garlic. So we're gonna chop our onion and our garlic. It can be pretty rough because we are gonna pulse it later on in a blender when we mix the whole mix together. So cut them up, pop them into a frying pan, a bit of olive oil and salt, and then we're just gonna saute them kind of 5 to 10 minutes or so until they're nice and soft. I like it when they're going that kind of slightly golden brown caramelized color because that adds a lot of flavor to the bean mix later on. So while those are cooking, we're gonna do our mushrooms and our quinoa. The mushrooms couldn't be simpler. You just want 150 grams of chestnut mushrooms, and you're just gonna pop them on a baking tray, sprinkling of salt, drizzle of olive oil, a little crack of black pepper, and then you're gonna pop that baking tray in the oven kind of 10 to 15 minutes or so until they look really gorgeous and that kind of dark goldeny mushroom brown, and then pop those to one side. And then while the mushrooms cook, we're just going to cook our quinoa. Again, that's super simple. Literally put your quinoa with boiling water in a pan on some heat, add a little bit of salt as well, just helps the quinoa with flavor. Let that cook, takes about 10 to 15 minutes or so. So for the last minute or so of the onion and garlic cooking, when it's nice and caramel and golden, we're gonna just add our spices, and we've got smoked paprika, chili powder, and a bit of cayenne pepper. If you really don't like spice, skip the cayenne pepper, but the three together is gorgeous, especially when you then put it in a bun with all the other ingredients as well. And then what we now need to do is let everything cool before we mix it together. I normally just pop the mushrooms, the quinoa, and the onion mix into the processor, which is where we're gonna then blend it, just because I find it cools quicker, because obviously it's not in a hot container at that point. And bonus, you can do the washing up while that cools. So that might take like 15 minutes or so. And at that point, we're gonna mix them all together with the tin of black beans, which you've drained and rinsed, a really generous tablespoon of plain flour. I'm using a gluten-free one, but you can use a normal one, a teaspoon of arrowroot. That really helps the thickening and just absorbing any moisture. You could use a corn flour as well if you can't find arrowroot, but most supermarkets should have it. A bit of salt and pepper. And then we're gonna mix that all up. And then we're gonna pop the food processor in the fridge. This is a tiny bit annoying, and I appreciate that because it's kind of it slows you down a little bit, but they do really need to be cool. Like if you're cooking these when they're wet and sticky and hot, they aren't gonna stick together. So put them in the fridge, leave them for about half an hour. We'll then mold them into patties and put the patties back in the fridge again for like half an hour. And at that point, they're gonna be in the right place to then actually fry and get really delicious and firm up properly, and that will be perfect in your burger.